Everyone calls me a shoe. What if I want to be a purse or a hat? A famous line by Rachel Green to her father in the wildly successful sitcom Friends. Anyone who has seen the episode would agree with me. It was a powerful emotion delivered in a whimsical fashion. Have you wondered the depth of this line? Hello my friends, welcome to the Celebrating Life podcast. I'm Sony Thomas and I'm super excited you are joining me today to unpack a series of small thoughts on cognitive bias. Cognitive bias not only affects our interaction with others, but also how we see ourselves. For the longest time, Rachel saw herself as a shoe and everyone else did too, until she walked out on her wedding realizing she wants to be something else, something more. She uses the metaphor, "I don't want to be a shoe anymore," to express her newfound self-awareness. Until we open ourselves to a new perspective, we continue to remain bound in our existing cognitive bias that taint how we see ourselves, how we see others, and how others see us. Simply put, cognitive bias are mental shortcuts or patterns of thinking that can influence how people interpret and respond to information while interacting with the world. These biases can affect decision-making, leadership, communication, and relationships. There are different types of cognitive bias. Confirmation bias is a type of cognitive bias that repeatedly reinforces your viewpoints and actively ignores contradictory information. How does this happen, you might wonder? Simple. What kind of news source do you follow? Usually, news sources that align with your existing beliefs, thus reinforcing your viewpoints and ignoring contradictory information. I happened to overhear two gentlemen discussing the injustice in the community XYZ. Since I'm also part of this community XYZ, it sparked my interest to listen to them. As I listened, I observed that for every incident they were speaking of, the incidents were either portrayed out of context or in the wrong chronological order or were only partially factual. You might wonder, how come I know this? Because at that point in my life, I had first-hand access to incidents happening in the XYZ community. I was curious to know their source, but before I could engage them, one of them took out WhatsApp and was showing a video as proof to their discussion. I immediately realized their source. The WhatsApp group in question is a sponsored source outside of the XY community, tasked with the objective of smearing dirt on the community. So by taking the information in the WhatsApp group as truth, those two gentlemen are further confirming their already existing belief about their own community XYZ. This is a confirmation bias. To minimize your confirmation bias in your communication, in your relationships, in your thinking, you have to take the courage to question your belief and your source. Thank you for joining me today. Cognitive bias is a deep-seated mental schema that is not easy to identify and even more difficult to change. But it is possible to change by building self-awareness and self-discipline. And if you need a sounding board to build your self-awareness, I'm here to listen to you. All you have to do is connect with me. Looking forward to seeing you next week as I continue the series on cognitive bias, discussing different types of cognitive bias and how to minimize its impact on your life. Bye for now. Make it an amazing week.